do. We've gotten the bug now that we've done this, and I'm ready to go full force. My husband's a little bit more reserved, but if it was up to me, I'd be buying 5 units like immediately.
Yeah.
All of our guests except for one have been wonderful.
Tell me about this one guest.
There was about $4,000 worth of damage inside.
Wow. So I am here with Karen Teft of the Orange Blossom Bungalow. Karen, would you like to tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you guys do?
Yes, thank you so much. My name is Karen, and I am the owner-operator of the Orange Blossom Bungalow in Claremont, Florida. And you might be saying, where is Claremont? We are just outside of the Disney area. So kind of a little bit north of Four Corners. And we are in an area that actually has rolling hills, which is very rare for Florida. So it's a beautiful little city.
Yeah, lovely, lovely. So the Orange Blossom Bungalow, tell us a bit more about the bungalow itself. How long have you guys been operational, and what kind of service do you offer? Let's start from there.
So we opened in August of 2022. So we're pretty new at it, and we are kind of we're putting ourselves in a luxe class. So we've done a lot of things to increase the nightly rate, I guess, in this area. We have pretty much all the amenities that you could ask for. The community that we're located in has a lot of resort amenities. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. We basically took the whole unit down to the studs and rebuilt the inside, so everything's brand new in here. It's beautiful.
Yeah, superb. So now let's tell us a bit about the background you've got there. That's quite a backdrop you've got, and I presume it's real. It's not a screen that's kind of like one of these added on.
No, it's not a screen. It's a mural that we had put up. And it's kind of a throwback to this area because Lake County, Florida was known for the citrus industry. So if you were to come here years ago, there was pretty much nothing but orange groves everywhere as you looked. And that's one of the reasons why we love the name. Growing up in Florida in the spring when the orange blossoms bloom, it's the most beautiful scent. So we wanted to kind of pay homage to the old industry that was in this area. So we designed a little Instagram wall, or feature wall, so that it kind of added a little bit of that and tied the whole property together.
Yeah, I think it looks brilliant. It's beautiful. I feel enticed to come to Florida now for the Orange Blossom. You've got me in. I'm sold. The marketing's working.
Excellent.
Yeah. So what's it like being? You said you're part of a community, in a sense that you're part of like what would you call it? Like a complex of properties. How's it like operating a vacation rental in a complex with other properties? Are there a lot of others in there, or?
Yeah. So actually, this community was built in the 1970s, and I believe it was initially built to house the employees who were going to be working at Disney. So it was set up as a short-term rental community. So there are little A-frame units as well as little duplex units that are set up to actually be short-term rentals.
Yeah.
There is a rental property, a management company on property, but a lot of us do our own stuff individually, and that's what my husband and I do.
Yeah, okay, I see. Excellent. So you have plans to expand beyond the 1 unit, or is one enough?
We
for
do.
now?
We do. We've gotten the bug now that we've done this, and I'm ready to go full force. My husband's a little bit more reserved, but if it was up to me, I'd be buying 5 units like immediately.
Yeah. So you've obviously found your experiences with this unit to be successful, and you've enjoyed it, which superb. So what motivated you to do this to begin with?
So kind of fell into this. We had originally purchased this property for my mom. She decided the renovations were taking a little bit too long. She ended up moving out to the Tampa area. So we were like, what are we going to do with this property? You know, it's almost finished. We could sell it, or we could dive into this short-term rental industry that we've been hearing so much about. So we decided to take the plunge, furnish it, and turn it into a short-term rental. And we opened our doors in August, and we've been very lucky that all of our guests except for one have been wonderful. So
Okay.
we've been enjoying it.
You know what I'm going to ask you now? Tell me about this one guest.
So unfortunately, it ended up being a third party booking, and the person who showed up to the cabin wasn't even, or to the bungalow wasn't even registered. And we have a very strict no smoking policy, and they were smoking. So and then when we actually got access to the property after their reservation had been canceled, they had been burning a candle unattended in the house for 8 hours. So that was kind of scary coming in. You know, luckily there was no major damage to the flooring or anything where they were burning it, and the house didn't burn down. But there was about $4,000 worth of damage inside.
Wow.
On top, you know, you had the smoke mitigation. The candle was very heavily perfumed, so it overwhelmed. It's only 720 square feet, so it kind of overwhelmed the space. It was in all the fabric. And then we have no idea how it happened, but our stove had a huge chunk missing, the glass top stove. So yeah, that was fun. We had to get a new stove and get everything back together before our next guest came.
So two following questions on that would be, how protected were you from this situation, in terms of was there any kind of remuneration? Was there any kind of insurance policy, deposit? Were you protected in any way?
So Airbnb has the air cover, and it was an Airbnb reservation. So we had been going back and forth with them. Also, we have Safely. So Safely actually is wonderful. They were very hands-on, and I highly recommend everybody have their own insurance policy outside of Airbnb.
So Safely is your insurance policy outside of Airbnb. Excellent.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And going forward, what lesson did this teach you? Are you going to behave differently, or are you going to adapt to protect yourself further from any kind of situation like this in the future?
So we've kind of strengthened our house rules. We're trying to move towards getting off the OTAs. I've spent a lot of time learning about marketing, and we've set up a direct booking website. We want to have a little bit more control of our own property. It was disheartening, the process, because you have a lot of inadequately trained representatives at the OTAs, and they tend to pass the buck off to, oh, sorry, my shift is ending, it's going to the next person. So I think I had to re-explain myself at least 12 times before they would even cancel the reservation. And it was challenging. Yeah.
Okay, I see. So how do you currently keep track of all of your bookings, and how do you communicate with your team? I presume you must, are you doing are you doing all the cleaning and checkout stuff yourself, or do you have a team for that?
So right now we've been doing the cleaning ourselves, but that is something we're getting ready to hand off. We've kind of put together our own process of how we want it to look, and we've done it enough times now that we know what needs to be done. So now that we've got that process, we've signed up on Turnover B&B to help find a cleaning team that would be trainable and willing to take on our process. Yeah. And then we're going to sub that out. Because that's probably what we spend the most time on right now.
Yeah, it's the physical management of the property. So in my hosting journey, it was, I mean, I did at times do the cleaning, and which I think is quite important when you're learning the business, you learn everything. And you know, it might sound really simple just doing the cleaning, but in fact, when you do the cleaning, you get a real grasp of what is actually going on in front of you. It's not just bookings and emails coming through to a computer. There's a physical property, there's physical elements to it, physical considerations. But that said, outsourcing, in terms of if you're looking to grow, outsourcing pretty early on will enable you to spend time working on the business, not in the business. So I think, yeah, my advice would be outsource. Now that you've done it, you know what it is. Get somebody else to take care of that task, because there's other jobs.
Exactly.
There's other jobs.
Right now we are on VRBO and Airbnb. We've just set up the listing for booking.com too.
Right. Okay, yeah.
And then we have our own direct booking website.
Yeah. Okay. Do you do much via? I mean, I've seen your Instagram account, but do you have much communication from guests via Instagram?
Not at this point. We're just trying to grow that Instagram account right now. I've had to learn a little bit about the marketing, so I've kind of taken all that on myself. So I try and keep it as entertaining as possible, and giving them a sneak peek of, what the property looks like. And we've done a couple of different offers on Instagram. But it's a platform that I'm kind of learning myself. I'm a little bit, behind the trends. So I'm just trying to get used to it.
Do you have any other tools that you use that make your life better? And by saying that, I mean, I like in this podcast, I try to add as much value as possible. So if there's a little kind of hack that you think you found, would you mind sharing an inclination as to what that might be?
So for myself, I'm a pharmaceutical sales rep by trade. So I do a lot of driving, and I spend all the time when I'm on the road listening to podcasts, because being new at this business, I came into it, and a lot of people get into it kind of mistakenly, and it's like, hey, I'm going to get into this. This is going to be so much fun, but there's really a lot to this. So I've been spending a lot of time just filling my brain with as much as I possibly can off of the experts on the podcast, like your show. Natalie Palmer's a great one as well. So I just have been picking that up, and then getting involved in the Facebook groups. There's a lot of people who have similar issues that you're going to run into, and it's searchable. You can look up the advice that they got from other hosts who who have reached out to those posts, and there's always one or two of the same thing almost every day. It's like, hey, is this a scam reservation, or what do I do in this situation? So I found that to be very, very helpful. And I actually keep a notes on my phone, and when I see a really good response, I'll copy and paste it. So I'm like, okay, this would be a great response if someone's claiming there's bed bugs, or this would be a great response if I've got a guest who's just complained since, the minute they walked into the unit, here's a nice response for that. So just learning that communication. Yep. And just keeping a notepad with everything in there, so that you've got a reference tool on how to respond to some of these, because some of these people have really come up with beautiful wording to keep it very customer focused still, and not argumentative. And so you want to be very customer focused. It is hospitality after all. So
yeah, excellent advice, excellent tip there. I like that one. So looking back, what advice would you give to your former self when you're first starting out? Is there any advice you'd give yourself?
Probably to start learning more about the business before just listing the property and getting into it. That was probably the most scary part. It's like, hey, we got the first reservation request. What do we do now? Are we even fully ready? So I think I would have spent a little bit more time doing the background research before just plunging right into it. So as you're getting the property ready, you need to be filling your mind and learning more about the business, and making sure that you're providing a 5-star service, because after all, we are part, and it's fortunate that we get to be part of somebody's vacation or time that they're spending with friends and family. And we want the part, even though they might not be in a room or a house very long during the day, we want them to have an enjoyable stay. So it's really important that we are providing a 5-star service to our guests.
Excellent. So I can tell that that's probably the core of your focus of your day to day, is that you put the guest at the center. I think a lot of people overlook that as well, and particularly with this, like, with this hype around vacation rentals than it is that there's a big hype about it. And a lot of people just see it as kind of this opportunity to jump in, make loads of cash, when really they lose track of the fact that you are a massive part of somebody's holiday, or as you say, visiting friends and family. And to keep that at the center is really key in what we do.
Exactly.
So if people want to find out more about the Orange Blossom Bungalow and yourself, how can they do that? If they want to get in touch, how can they get in touch?
They can go to our website, which is www.theorangeblossomBungalow.com, or they can email me directly, which is Karen@theorangeblossomBungalow.com.
Awesome. Karen, it's been lovely talking to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.